Okay. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wayne Blue. You are listening to the Raptors Reaction Podcast. Raptors lose tonight, 112-96 against the Boston Celtics. Got to hand it to the Celtics. Read the stat that they're 17-3 against the Raptors in the last 20. This is a team that has owned us, and certainly it's a feeling I hate. Definitely don't like losing to the Celtics. Probably my least favorite team to lose to in the association. But you got to hand it to them because the Celtics, say what you want about them, but they have standards. They got standards, and they set them at the championship. Maybe that's because they won 18 of those things, right? Tied for most in the league with the Lakers. But they got championship standards, which means when they come to your building, second half of back-to-back, and they declare before the game, hey, Jaylen Brown's out for the game. He's ill. And by the way, obviously, Jason Tatum is not even in for the season just yet, right, because of his injury. We just shipped off 3 of our other starters that contributed to our championship in the offseason as well, in Kristaps, Al Horford, and Drew Holiday. But you know what? We're going to roll in here with Derek White and 4 white guys, and we're going to stomp on your neck. We're going to embarrass you. We're going to play with our second and third stringers. We're going to push you around. We're going to push you around to the point where our rookie, who is 18 years old, who's just come in from Spain, will dunk all over you. We're going to celebrate all over your court, and we're going to demonstrate what it looks like to have standards. And on the flip side for the Raptors, man, you could talk about all you want. Oh, let's hold the team with kid gloves. They're 17-12. You didn't expect them to be 17-12. You can't critique this team. Bullshit. You have to have standards. When you step on your home court in particular, you have to have standards. Do you know what happened a year ago when the Raptors played against Boston? They gave up 155 points. That alone should carry you for like 5 years of every time I see the Celtics, it should be like that, okay? I cannot stand seeing the Celtics. I need to bring my A game for the Celtics. You know the Celtics are going to bring the A game for you. It doesn't matter if they're third stringers, second stringers, whatever, man. They're going to come for you. That's standards. Raptors, no standards. Where were the standards tonight? Raptors played soft tonight. And guess what? The Raptors play soft many nights. I've pointed this out many times. When the Raptors were winning 13 or 14, all things were good. Why did they then proceed to lose 6 or 7 games? Because they started playing soft. And honestly, it is not stamped out. It's not rooted out. And when I watch these games, that is the biggest difference. You could talk about, they didn't have Jakob tonight and RJ needs to be out, you can make excuses all you want, man. You can make excuses all you want. You had more rest. You're playing at home. You're coming off 2 wins that were shaky. If you listen to those rack pods, it wasn't like I'm celebrating like crazy. I'm like, okay, they played like crap some of these nights, but okay, whatever. Miami sucks, and Milwaukee didn't have Giannis, so they're definitely bad. So you were able to squeeze out crunch time wins against them. Congratulations. You did enough to win. You can't come in here against the Celtics and expect to do the same thing. And man, watching the Raptors get pushed around for rebounds, watching the Raptors get just Peyton Pritchard just doing whatever he wants, literally doing whatever he wants. Peyton Pritchard, 19 points in the third quarter, fantastic basketball, and I congratulate him because this is about the 20th time I've seen Peyton Pritchard do whatever he wants to the Toronto Raptors. But my goodness, is anyone going to change that? Is anyone going to stop him? Is the defense going to stop him? Is anyone on the team going to take accountability for that? You know what I mean? And this is what I mean by softness, okay? And I'm not saying this is one guy. I think it's the whole team. I really think it's the whole team. I think it comes from the top. I really think I swear, if Darko goes to that podium tonight and says some shit about, we just had a tough night and we missed some shots and, we'll bounce back and, you know what I mean? No. Someone's got to tell the truth to these players, man. It's unacceptable. How many of these players get into the NBA on talent alone and are going to be good on talent alone? 2 guys. 2 on the Raptors that played tonight are talent guys. Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. That's it. And honestly, Scotty sometimes really has to excel by playing hard because Scotty didn't have a good game here tonight. But still, those 2 guys can play with talent. Everyone else has to have the mindset of what the Celtics rookie just showed. Hugo Gonzalez, 18, 19 years old from Spain, whatever, rookie, right? I got to play my ass off every single minute. I got to win my physical matchup. I got to out-hustle my man. I got to get out there and defend. I got to, put and sacrifice on the line, and I got to be smart every single time I get out there because otherwise I might not get out there. Guess what? None of these other guys have the talent to play like that. Everyone else on this team needs to play hungry, needs to play physical, and every time we watch the Raptors lose, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. This whole losing streak, if you remember this, started with Raptors go to the Charlotte Hornets. They should have won that one. They were up 12 with 6 minutes left. They blow it. They lose in overtime, whatever, right? That game, why did that game flip? Because Collin Sexton and Moussa Diabate decided this team is soft. Let's get every rebound. Let's push them around, and we're going to score. And that's exactly what happened. They did that over and over and over again. And then they would lose the next night to the Knicks. And what did I say after the Knicks game? Hey, man, I know we just won Thursday at 14, but Raptors really got just out-muscled, pushed around, whatever you want. And then, by the way, 2 weeks later, when they played the Knicks again, they had the exact same thing happen to them a second time. Okay, now whatever. Losing to the Knicks, they're going to represent the East in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the NBA Finals, most likely. You know, maybe you don't expect that. But guess what? You think the Boston Celtics roll into facing the Knicks with whoever they have tonight, and they in the back of their mind, they're like, hey, man, we don't expect to compete with these guys. No, they have standards. This is the whole game was about having standards, man. Yes, the Celtics have some talent. I commend them for that. They had the shooting. But, like, man, watching Kada, who, by the way, they've just picked up off the scrap heap. You talk about the Raptors. Oh man, we got to trade for. We got to give it up for Daniel Gafford. We got to give it up for Jakob Poeltl. We got to give it up for Thad Young. We got to give it up for Nick Young. Or who was it? Nick Richards. We got to give it up for those guys. Guess what? Boston Celtics go on the street and they say, you know what? Luke Cornett, we're going to sign you off the street. Come play with our G League team. Now you're a good player. Now you're a championship player. Now the San Antonio Spurs, who want to compete, will sign us off your roster. And guess what? We don't have enough money for you, but that's because we felt that like we could do this again. And they did the same thing. They signed Kate off the street. They put him in the G League a little bit, and then now he's a really productive center. And he comes in here tonight, doesn't miss a shot, gets every rebound, you know, just does whatever he wants to the Raptors. But you know what? Wasn't even that. Wasn't even Payne Pritchard, who, again, at this point, I just expect him to turn into, you know, White Iverson whenever he sees the Raptors. What I expect to see, though, is some effort against Luka Garza. Really? Like, seriously, Luka Garza comes in here, pushes you all over the court, gets every rebound against you guys. Hugo Gonzalez, a rookie, comes into your home, dunks the ball at the end there. No one does anything. You know what happened when Scotty Barnes got near the basket? And by the way, Scotty didn't have a point until this point, okay? But in the second quarter, Scotty's first chance to score under the basket goes up, makes a miraculous and one. But Neemias Queta is literally two hands on his head, on his shoulder, dragging him to the ground to the point where that's a flagrant. Now, of course, I'm not condoning flagrants, but what I'm saying is Scotty had 0 points at that point when he committed that flagrant. And that was the tone they said. You try to come score in the paint, we're taking you down. It doesn't matter who you are, right? And on the other end, Payton Pritchard, it's like, okay, who you got? Oh, you got defensive stoppers? You're starting Ochai? Oh, score on Ochai. Oh, Jamal Shed's a defensive stopper. Darko just gassed him up saying, why can't you be the best on-ball defender in the league? Try to guard me. You can't. Then, okay, Scotty Barnes is going to guard me. Oh, cool. You know what? I'm going to hit turnaround jumpers over Scotty Barnes. That's the mentality. That's mentality. When the Celtics come in and play like this, that's mentality. And what are the Raptors match? Who in the Raptors play with that type of mentality on a nightly basis? Sometimes Scotty leads that. Sometimes. Most of the time, I'll even give him that. That's credit to him. That's one guy. Who else is going to follow that? And guess what? I don't need my star player to play like that hard. Realistically, star players come in, play with a talent, play with skill, and they, do the heavy lifting. Everyone else needs to come in and play with that aggression. Where was that from the team tonight? Seriously, how many opportunities are we going to give Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick, Emmanuel Quickly, even Ochai Agbaji last week saying, oh, you know what? I differentiate myself with energy. Where was that tonight? Right? Where was that? Right? Just watching the Raptors get mauled out there was really unpleasant to see, especially for a home fan base that is paying good money to come see you guys because they're like, you know what? Raptors look like they're something this year. It's around time for Christmas. They got some time off on the weekend. Let's go check out the Raptors. I'm excited to see them. And what do you get to see, man? You didn't even get to see Jaylen Brown. You didn't get to see all-star performances. You got to see the Celtics come in with their second and third stringers and demonstrate what it looks like to have standards versus a team that doesn't. And I'm tired of watching this, man. And the reason for this is, look, I'm not expecting for the Raptors to be championship contenders right away. I understand it takes a level to build, but what are you building on? You have principles that you build on. Coming into the season, Darko saying, I want us to dominate on defense. Really? Because dominating on defense is what the Celtics did to the Raptors. They played a zone against the Raptors. Raptors started settling for threes. Yeah, the Raptors got hot from three. Congratulations. Mamu has a career night from three, basically. Brandon Ingram knocking out the threes. That's great. Guess what? Raptors still have 96 points. Raptors can't get into paint. Raptors aren't really making the type of effort you need to score inside there. How many times do we see, Raptors open at the rim for a dunk, gets blocked. Raptors open at the rim, gets fouled at the rim. Then they turn from a guaranteed 2 points, which should have been an and one to finish strong, to then turn into 1 of 2 from the foul line. How many times can we take 3 points and turn them into 1 before you start losing the game by 16 points against the Boston Celtics bench? And honestly, where's the accountability from that, right? All we see is, oh man, the culture is so good. Everyone's so friendly with each other. I love seeing that. Guess what? A team of nice guys, what does that finish? Last. Like, the Celtics, you know what? Like, look at them, man. And it's not even that imposing. Look at who the Celtics had out there. Again, they didn't have, like, their old vets, their, the ultra big size and the wing or whatever. Bro, we're just talking about random guys coming in. And all due respect, but random guys. Baylor Scheinman ripping the ball from Emmanuel quickly in the fourth quarter to start the game. Like, it's like, we're in like a 4-point game. You're getting the ball ripped like that? By who? You know what I mean? But that's the mentality. And I don't see that from the Raptors. And until they build that into themselves, no matter how much talent you add, no matter what kind of skill acquisition you bring to this team, you are going to have the same problem. You have to build on unshakable principles on the team, okay? And I'm just telling you, that starts at the top. You look at the Celtics. You know who their coach is? Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla, mentality monster, to the point where it's almost comical how much of a mentality monster he is. That's what the Tony sets. Ime Udoka, when he goes to Houston, man, Houston was a 20-win team. They signed Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. Cool. That shouldn't be the difference between them getting to the point they are now. And now you look at them. Every night they play tough. They just beat the Denver Nuggets tonight. They got revenge after, getting jobbed basically at the buzzer the last time they played. But it was right down to the buzzer. Like, that's down to the coach, man. Coach says, you know what? It's toughness. Even like, look at the Celtics, man. Or not the Celtics. The Hornets, right? Well, we watched the Raptors play Charlotte recently, and obviously they lost twice to Charlotte recently. Remember that game the Raptors lost to Charlotte the first time in overtime? Remember who was sitting on the bench, right? You have LaMelo Ball sitting on the bench. You have Brandon Miller sitting on the bench. That's 2 number 2 overall picks that they have banked their future on. And you might say, that's not a great sign that they're sitting on the bench. Guess what? The coach, Charles Lee, who, by the way, just came from the Celtics, says, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to play the guys that will play the hardest for me, regardless of politics, right? You saw here tonight, and with all due respect to Emmanuel quickly, but he did not have it tonight. 1 of 12 from the field, 1 assist, like this genuinely might be, 7 assists, okay, sorry. But like 1 of 12 from the field in 31 minutes, and also, by the way, not providing defensively at all in that stretch too, that should be grounds to get benched. And it's not like, hey, personal, like, we got to bench you. But what do we see? A whole 12 minutes of Emmanuel quickly in the fourth quarter. Like, are you serious? Really? Over the course of the game, you see that the Raptors have issues defending, rebounding, and just being solid defensively. And I understand, no Jakob. Wow, no Jakob. Okay, fine. That can't be a surprise, by the way. The guy's had a bad back for a year now. But it's like, okay, you don't have Jakob in the game. So what do we do in the middle of this game? I got to play my toughest defenders. And if that means I don't have IQ on the floor, then so be it. The guy's 1 of 12. He was hurting you the whole game anyway. Was there any sort of reticence to bench him at the end there? Does anybody ever get benched on this team? Seriously. Or do they get the same chance to do the same mistake the next game? Where's that accountability? Where's that like, okay, you know what? I got to put that mentality in. If I don't perform, I don't play. No, who feels that on this team? Seriously, who? Right? Like, honestly, I'm not saying all of them got to feel that kind of like effort and that sort of fire beneath them, but they should. Some of these guys should. And this is like that I just feel like everything's always okay. Everything's always hunky-dory. It's all about, we're in the second year of a rebuild. You put that thought in your back of your mind, you're never going to climb the mountain. You're not even going to start to climb the mountain. I hate this, man. On the flip side, a really nice performance from Mamu. Mamu, I see him playing with hunger. Does he get hunted defensively? Sure. You know what actually I saw tonight? Darko being like, Mamu, get out the game. Really? How many times did Mamu get subbed out in the fourth quarter? Twice? What do you mean? He's 1 of 2 guys who can hit threes for you. You need to make a comeback. You need size on the floor. Let's get smaller. Let's put Jacoby on the game again. By the way, minus 27 in this game. You know what I mean? Like, dude, in terms of feeling pressure, it's like there's guys in the G League right now, right? You take Elijah Martin, you take AJ Lawson, you put him on the roster right now, and you replace him with Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter. I'm not sure the 905 are 15-0, and I'm not sure the Raptors are worse than they are right now. But you're not even close to that, right? But like in the fourth quarter, after sneaking up the whole night, these guys get to go back in again. Grady Dick got benched tonight. Okay, Grady didn't hit some open shots, but I at least saw Grady attack. I saw him get 3 deflections. Doesn't get a chance to play. It doesn't even factor in towards the end. I don't understand what the priority is for this team. And I've said it. Like if it's about rebuilding again, if it's about games don't really matter, it's nice to win, but ultimately, it's about getting young guys time to get experience and run out there. Okay, so but that's not what this team should have been about. And I don't like moving the goalposts. I don't like shifting it, and I don't like not looking at the problem in the face. Mamu played well, knocked down some threes, 6 of 9 from the 3. Darko told him like, I need you to shoot the ball more. Green light. Have you seen basically the shooting percentages of the second unit guys? Go out there and bomb the 3. Tonight he starts, hit the 3. Celtics were trying to play zone. They were trying to take away the paint. You have a stretch 5. Be the benefit of the stretch 5. Knock down some 3s. Brandon Ingram, bucket maker, bucket getter. It doesn't help that he turns the ball over sometimes on some just unfortunate passes, but ultimately like was the main driving force of the offense. Him and Mamu, 24 points each. Brandon also 7 assists, 10 of 17 from the field. Sometimes I'm like, all this passing and moving all this stuff around, wouldn't it be nice if the guy who could score have the ball in a scoring position with the floor spaced most of the time, and I don't know, 17 shots is a lot. It's not nothing, but man, if I could do this game over, I would give Brandon Ingram 25 shots. Who else is gonna score for you? Ochai 1 of 5. That's not even a surprise when Ochai goes 1 of 5, by the way. People like cheer and celebrate when he has 10 points as a starting guard, right? IQ 1 of 12. I mean, my goodness, like it's so below his average. But Grady Dick 2 of 4, including missing open 3s. Watching him in warm-ups, he's not even making 3s on a consistent basis. I don't know what's going on there. Jamal Shed 2 of 5. He hit the 2 3s early. That was great. Non-factor the rest of the way. Jacoby Walter 2 of 6 from the field. Jamison Battle 0 for 1. Garrett Temple. By the way, Garrett Temple, man, it's garbage time. Garrett Temple's there for. We know Garrett Temple's there for to be a good example. I couldn't believe that the first time Garrett Temple touched the ball, he shot the 3. And like it was just bring the ball up in transition and just shot the 3. It's like, dog, really? Like I know the game's over, I know it doesn't matter, but like it's supposed to be setting a good example. Imagine I just no, I mean whatever. Like I guess that's not the biggest issue. But like, yeah, Brandon needed to score the ball more. Scotty unfortunately couldn't score the ball much tonight. Like I said, he was very limited to 0 points. I mean, at one point they played like the little advertisement to vote Scotty to the All-Star game. A bit awkward in that moment because that was the second quarter, midway through, and he had 0 on his box score. Like it says right there beside the Jumbotron where they play the message. It was like Scotty Barnes 0, and they were also saying Scotty go to the All-Star game. But Scotty had a hard time scoring in this one. Celtics, threw multiple defenders at him, put physicality on him. But also, I think, again, mentality thing. Like, sometimes I don't feel like Scotty has this mentality to score. And I understand that it's good to distribute, it's good to be unselfish, it's good to play whatever. But, man, rest nobody else was scoring. They had 2 guys scoring for you tonight. We needed a 3rd guy to score for you. And the mentality was like, okay, Scotty has Nemias Queta on him. Sets, a wing versus a big. You got to attack that mismatch. And Scotty literally just holds the ball, looks at him from, 20 feet out, pump fake, sees that there's no reaction, and just shoots it again from the same spot, misses it. You're letting the defense off the hook if you are taking a contested mid-range jumper, okay? Like, that's early in the shot clock. You're not even looking to attack, maybe make the defense collapse, maybe make something happen. I can't have it that Peyton Pritchard looks at Scotty Barnes and says, I'm going to attack you and score on you, and then Scotty Barnes sees Nemias Queta and says, I'm going to let you off the hook and shoot the jumper. That contributes to the overall lack of intensity from the team. Okay? Those type of plays. Yeah, I mean, the Raptors tonight, man, I'll give them credit for fighting back the first time. They were down 13 in the first half. They were playing pretty terrible. Scotty and bench was particularly bad. But the Raptors did fight back, and they did take a 2-point lead getting into halftime. You're like, okay, you know what? Maybe we ducked it. Maybe we played badly. Now we're going to use a strong third quarter. Raptors third quarter, I thought they actually scored well. Like, honestly, guys were, Jacoby made an and one cutting to the basket. Jacoby made a corner three. Grady made an and one. CMB rolled to the basket, made an and one, got a putback. Like, it was like, okay, like Raptors played well in the third quarter offensively. But it literally, all of that was negated by the fact that Peyton Pritchard had one of the best quarters of his career against the Raptors, going as perfect 6 of 6 from the field for 19 points. He probably also set up like at least 2 or 3 other baskets too. So single-handedly carving the Raptors apart. So instead of the Raptors actually playing well, maintaining their momentum, and by the way, Raptors even went up like 7, 8 points, where it's like, okay, you have a chance to pull away. Boston just comes back and just, retakes the lead off one man alone, Peyton Pritchard. Just literally one man alone. And then when the fourth quarter comes, you're like, oh my God, thank goodness, Peyton Pritchard finally sits. Which, by the way, that's already a weak sentence as it is, man. Like, come on, man. We can't be that afraid of Peyton Pritchard. But you know what? Honestly, based on the way he played in the third quarter, that's the relief I felt in myself, too. Oh my God, Peyton Pritchard's off the floor. Raptors can get back in the lead. And then they just get pushed around. The Raptors make no resistance. Again, like IQ getting ripped at half court by Baylor Sharman to go in the other way. Scotty screwing up a dribble handoff to Brandon Ingram, taking a foul. I should have been I don't know why that wasn't a transition take foul too, by the way. Like, clearly he was stopping the play in transition. IQ gets, there's plays where the Raptors can rotate at the rim, get a missed shot, but then IQ doesn't box out, and that just leads to another putback right there. I think by... it's either Keita or Garza. I don't know. Either way, it was kind of nasty to see. Jacoby coming in. Again, he had a chance to dunk it. Doesn't dunk it. Misses the dunk. Gets fouled. Instead of a 3-point play, it turns into a 1-point play because he goes 1 or 2 from the foul line. Gives up an and one drive right after that to, Derek White. Again, like, you could boil down games into like 10 make or break plays. And if you don't make them, you end up losing. And that's just kind of it, man. Like, what am I even gonna say, man? I mean, it's just I guess it really bothers me when you come to watch players come and compete and just see the exact opposite of that. So I'm probably gonna start talking in circles a little bit, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take a quick break, try to pause and reset a little bit. I've been refreshing Twitter like crazy because I really want to see what Darko says about this loss, man. Because I suspect the mentality is from the top, not just from the players themselves, not just from the talent. And obviously the talent can be upgraded. Obviously the front office chooses which players they build around and the type and whatever. But when I look at the whole team playing with this lack of intensity, that's what I see. That's what I suspect. So let's take a quick break. Okay, let me calm down a little bit and let's take your questions. But yeah, stick with me here. Okay, let's I still don't see any post-game reaction from this just yet, so let me know if I'm mistaken. I again, like, it's just watching this type of stuff really bothers me, man. Because again, it's, I like the this comment here, which was, this isn't on the front office. We were by far the more talented team tonight. That's why it's frustrating. The players need to show up and play with effort, and they didn't. And that's the thing, man. Like, you got a day off. I love what the Raptors did in the community yesterday, whether that's Scotty and Jamal showing up at the ballet, or more importantly, Grady and Jamison Garrett Temple, CMB showing up, at a food bank. Those are all very important things in the community. I love that. But like, they gotta come in, man. They gotta do better than this. Like they really should look at this like, yo, we had a golden opportunity with a Celtics team that is good. There's a chance to get a good win here, and you have no, like, you like what other scenario would you rather catch the Celtics on? They don't have Brown, who's an MVP candidate this year. You don't have Tatum. You're the second half of back-to-back. They're on the road. They're in your building after they already beat you once. And you lay this egg is crazy, man. It's actually crazy. Like I refuse to accept that. And it looks like nobody really and nobody was really mad. Like, was there any sort of signs of frustration? Were there guys like trying to step up and like actually set the tone? Like, no, there just wasn't, man. There was just Mamu and Brandon getting buckets, which is great, and everyone else just working against the team. It felt like, man. So. Asian dad mode activated. Honestly, the thing is, and I have to say this, especially on behalf of my own father, like, he picks and chooses the right moments, man. He picks and chooses the right moments. You can't do this after every game, and it's the point is not to get yelled at after every loss, because that shit really will wear on you. There's been losses where I come on and say, I understand this and that. This was not it, man. This was just not it. Like, this was one of those games that you should sit there and feel disappointed and have the fire to then go out there and try to correct this as much as possible. Like, should be burning them right now. They should want a rematch right now. So watch the Raptors 905 instead. It's better. Honestly, I do watch a decent amount of the 905 games, especially this season when they've had some relevant players down there. Obviously, trying to keep track of the two ways and stuff like that. They do play really hard. I'll say that much. And by the way, one of the guys who would play hard for the Raptors in terms of scrappy, in terms of physicality, in terms of having size, Mobo, the guy hasn't even getting this guy's the most forgotten man of the Raptors, right? But you think about it, it's like, okay, Jakob's down. Maybe we keep a big up here. They're like, no, man, Mobo, we're so good that we would rather play with no bigs than have you on the team. It's like, okay, all right. Well, then we just put the 31st pick on this guy. You know what I mean? Like, AJ Mitchell's available at the 31st pick. Tyler Kolek was available at the 31st. And don't be like, oh, Will, what do you can't just do that. Like, you could always play this game. Well, we go back and listen to those episodes. Like, we were mentioning these names, right? Like, it wasn't like, oh man, no one heard of AJ Mitchell. Nobody heard of Tyler Kolek. Like, you know why I like those guys? They play tough. They play tough, and the Raptors need guards who can score. I'm sorry, but man, watching the Raptors guards, and I know tonight was obviously a super off night from IQ. Typically, he can score a little bit, but man, watching the Raptors guards just not be able to score when RJ's out, it's like, seriously, look, RJ's not even that next level skilled of a scoring guard. There's like a plethora of great scoring guards in the league, but relative to this team, RJ's like an oasis in the desert, man. You can actually get a bucket. You know what I mean? Yeah. Raptors not built for winning. They don't take every game seriously. But why? Why does that come from? Like, I'm like, what? Okay, honestly, what else is there to think about? No, but seriously, if you're a professional basketball player, what else is there to think about? Yes, there's like stuff on the side, your branding, your commercial appearances, the way you show up for the community, you have your family, you have what friend. That's life, man. That's life. Okay. The main job is to go out there and be ready to play focused every single night with a purpose to play and win. So like, and every scenario is available to you. You literally bounce city to city, making millions of dollars, staying at only 5-star hotels. You have all the support in the world. You have, like, literally, these are genuinely like the most well-supported human beings ever. I don't want to hear about this, like, take every game seriously or not. At some point, that comes down to character, man. Some players just, you don't have to tell them to play hard. You don't have to tell them. And by the way, man, I would love for a game changer, like a bit of energy. I know that like Chris Boucher's moved on, and I'm only saying this because I just saw him today in Toronto, obviously with the Celtics. He doesn't play for them. He's a DMP. But it's like, at least in years past, it's like when the whole second unit is empty and there's no energy and whatever, like you can at least turn to a guy who could potentially be a wild card for you. There's not even really a wild card on the bench. Like every card is like, you kind of know it's gonna be like a meh. You know what I mean? Like there's not even like a takeover and a spark and energy. Like, or if like, you know what, if our leader's going, I'm gonna match the energy. You know what I mean? And like, well, I can't just complain the whole episode, can I? Maybe I can. What else? Do we honestly think that there's any accountability from Darko or Scotty? Wouldn't be surprised if Jamal's most likely the one to tell how it is and hold these guys accountable. Okay, look. Accountability starts from the top. Okay? You can say for the front office. Honestly, front office can't just make trades willy-nilly, but I do expect Bobby to make some moves. This is not a perfect team. This team could really use the types of players that can fit into a winning mentality. Like Detroit. Like I mentioned this the other day. Like, well, I watch Detroit, and sometimes I'm like, I mean, first off, they're a very good team. Very physical, tons of size, and they just beat you up, right? And that's something that you never say about the Raptors. But then I watched Detroit, and I said the other day, I was like, I'm like watching Detroit, and I'm like, I'm real jealous that they have Javonte Green. Like anyone could have had Javonte Green. The guy's just a free agent. All this guy does is scrap and hustle and fight. It's like, okay, maybe he's not that most skillful offensive flair. Fine. You know what I mean? And that's what I wish Ochai was for us. You know what I mean? Why do I see Ochai like dominate the game with his energy? Like, he's just there. He's a passenger. There's so many passengers on this team, man. So many passengers on this team. Yeah. So far away from a Larry-like mindset right now. No, and that's the thing. Like, I really liked... I mean, everyone loves Larry because it's like, he took every single game like this. And that doesn't mean Kyle Lowry didn't lose games. Like, you know, I've seen Kyle Lowry lose games, regular season playoffs, whatever. But there's a mentality to keep just plugging away and like starting fights and like, you know, yelling at the referee and single-handedly pulling the bench up by himself. Like, that's talent, sure. That's ball knowledge, absolutely. Like, Kyle was an incredible student in the game. But more than anything else, it's just a competitiveness, man. Like, just not to lay over, just not to lay down and accept it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to play above yourself to inspire the team to follow you along. And I don't quite see that, man. I don't quite see that. And yes, I do appreciate this perspective. Will's a long season. There's gonna be ups and downs. That's fine. I accept that. That's fine. That is 100% true. But I also think we can sit in this moment. Like, you know, part of if we can be joyous after a win, we can be thoroughly disappointed after the Raptors lay down like this. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, I like riding it up and down in terms of just the emotions and you know, feeling each moment. Like, part of me, this is actually cathartic. And I think for a lot of people who spent 2.5 hours watching this, it is cathartic to watch this and try to diagnose what needs to be done. Because again, the whole point should be, what's the standard that we set for ourselves, man? That's what I'm so impressed by the Celtics. They could have had anybody out there. They basically did have anybody out there. And they would still come in here and still move you guys around. And they're hungry. They're like, you know what? You know, Luka Garza. To be honest, I wasn't even 1,000% sure Luka Garza was on the Celtics. He comes in tonight. This guy had 9 offensive rebounds. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, I don't get to play every day. So if I get to play, I'm going to play all out. That's what I see energy-wise. Okay, I don't get to play most times. And when I do play, you know, I got all this pent-up energy. I'm going to try to make sure I play the next game. 9 offensive rebounds is how you again earn that. Baylor Shireman comes in for 7 minutes. Okay, fine. I only play 7 minutes. I'm gonna go rip the ball from that man over there making $32 million and the starting point guard for the Raptors, anointed. I'm gonna go rip the ball from him. Like, not even just basketball. I'm gonna just straight rip the ball from him. Like it's Snatch Steal from Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like. That's the mentality you gotta come in and play with. Hugo Gonzalez, our rookie, comes in, puts up a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. You know, and he's dunking on the Raptors. He's blocking Raptors on the rim. He's, you know, forcing Brandon Ingram and frustrating him and being physical with him. Guy looks like a man-child, man. Like the only guys who played like even Anthony Simons, who's like okay, mostly in there to shoot some shots and be skilled. At least it's a threat. Okay, fine. I'm not one of these hard nosed guys that the Celtics have. Maybe I don't make it long term on the Celtics, but guess what? At least I got a skill. I walk in the gym every day. I feel like I can score. You know, classic bench gunner type, and he can actually score. Even on an off night, he still felt like a threat. By the way, he was a plus 32 tonight. You know what I mean? So. Like, there's going to be like a baseline of what to do. And also this season, they're like, well, you know, Jordan Walsh has been this guy. Ever since they started Jordan Walsh, the Celtics turned around. Guess what? The Celtics look at Jordan Walsh tonight. You didn't play well? 12 minutes? Get out the game. You're not coming back in the game. We'll try other guys. We'll try rookies. It's not about your feelings. It's not about agendas. It's not about where you picked. It's not about what the circumstance or the contract dictates for you. It's about winning. That's one priority. That's what I admire about them, man. There's clarity to how they want to play. Even this time, in terms of mentality, the Celtics are supposed to be losing this year. They're supposed to be tanking this year. They really should have been tanking this year. Maybe long term, it would have been better if they tanked this year, got a player, then come back. But guess what? You tank, you lose you start to lose that edge. You start to lose. If we ever say to ourselves, it's okay to lose, which by tanking, you absolutely have to say that to yourself. Then all of a sudden, it's really hard to just pick that back up. The most precious thing maybe isn't even just the draft pick. It's the organizational standard that we set ourselves to. You know? So it is this season's gonna have ups and downs. But I can't believe that I would be very remiss if the Raptors didn't try as much as possible to address this particular issue that they have. This issue with allowing the type of play and the style of play and the way that they lose. I can accept losing when they play hard, when they fight and they get out talented. This was not that though. This just wasn't that, you know. So that's not it. That's not it. Oh my God. Oh, this is what we want to do now too. Okay, great. Oh, I'm a hypocrite. I don't remember me saying one bad thing about Selfish Fred, but you'll throw Scotty on the bus. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, you know what's going to move the Raptors forward is stupid player fandom. How about that, man? It's about the team as a whole. And Fred got lots of shit, including from me. You can look back on the tape. It's written down. You can look back on the 10 things when the Raptors lost that season to in the play-in tournament. And I recently went back and reread it. The number one point, and there's like 800 words in there about how bad Fred performed that season. Get out of here, man. That's what's going to drive the team forward. Is stupid player fandom. Raptors need a PJ Tucker type. You know what? It's not just that. I need guys to play like they're PJ Tucker. Thank you, Assad. I miss PJ Tucker on the Raptors. I love when he did that. But look, some of these guys aren't that talented. I don't know what else to say. The margins for them are slim, and they got to come in and play like not the game is granted for them. Honestly, I said this before a couple previous seasons too. It's like, oh yeah, they did technically have PJ Tucker last year. It's pretty funny. I guess the Raptors had PJ Tucker 3 times on their contracts, but it's like, you know, when I was watching like the last couple of years and honestly there were like tanking years or whatever, right? But it's like, dog, you know, Jalen McDaniels and like Jordan Wara. Like, it's not like these guys didn't have talent. They had talent, they had size, they had the ability to score. But I'm watching them go out there, be all lackadaisical and not really take the game serious. And I'm like, dude, how many chances you going to start in the NBA? Maybe once when you're young, you're like not realizing the chances that are more valuable. But like, you should look at this like, I'm blessed like crazy to be in a starting position because my skill and pedigree doesn't say that I should be starting. But I get this chance. I got to play as hard as possible. When I saw them not play hard, I'm like, why are you wasting this? You're slapping in the face of the Raptors and this in your own face as well. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give a damn, man. Okay, let's get some of the super chats. I appreciate you guys sending in money. I really do. Here, first one, we need to trade IQ and Pirtle ASAP. We're always undersized on defense and BI's depending on offense. Thanks for the videos. Always agree. I mean, it'll be hard. It would be hard, but I do think that this is maybe part of the benefit of being able to come in and maybe reset with one of the star trades. I mean, like, look, there are so many potential stars available, right? I'm not saying all these guys are going to get traded right now, but AD could be traded. Sabonis can be traded. I mean, I know the other day I just like slandered Sabonis, but like Sabonis would 100% be an upgrade over Pirtle. I'll just say that much, okay? I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I just don't want him, okay? I can have preferences. I prefer not to watch Sabonis, but still, like, it's still a good player, right? Like, he could get traded. Ja Morant, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, these guys could potentially get traded. Maybe only one of these guys get traded. Maybe two of these guys get traded. Maybe the Giannis situation leads to some more movement. But there's like lots of players that may change teams this year, especially I think in the Eastern Conference where it's more open than you would expect on an average year. And that's part of the appeal for the AD trade. It's like, I don't know. Like, if I have to live and die with Jakob and IQ for the next couple of years, which is what the Raptors are committed to, like, you're going to see some ups and downs. I just don't think fundamentally IQ is going to wake up and he's like, I'm going to be like a Kyle Lowry type of point guard now. Like, that's just not going to happen. He's still going to be mostly shooting threes and using quickness to get to the lane. And, maybe he's not going to get to the spots because he's not strong enough. And defensively, he's still going to have to hide him a little bit. It's like these issues will persist. And Jakob's back, and this was the update from Darko, by the way, before the game about Jakob. He said, quote, he might wake up the next morning feeling good or not feeling so good. The same thing with practice. So we have a long-term plan for him, which consists of managing this injury, which consists of building his strength, which consists of playing through a certain level of discomfort, but we're not concerned at all. It's just something that we're dealing with in the middle of the season. If we're being off season, you just shut him down for 2 weeks and he'd be completely fine. But it's something we're trying to manage day to day. It's like, yeah, okay, you say this, but I think the actions speak louder, right? We just had the longest and the closest, like this off period is almost akin to like having the All-Star break, right? You basically, if Jakob didn't have to play in the Miami game, and he obviously hasn't played in the 2 games since the Miami game, you could have conceivably given Jakob a week and a half off, close to the 2 weeks that it takes to completely get him reset. But you're going to have to deal with the back issue. Like, it's, it's not going to require surgery or anything. Okay, well, then it's just management-wise. You're going to have to probably manage this for a long time. So, anyway, my point was just, like, there is a chance to potentially reset on some of these things. And, that's honestly, even though it's partly for AD, it's also a part chance to reset. And it sucks that we're kind of at this point where you have to look at some of these inconsistencies, but it also is there. And by the way, replacing IQ is not as easy as it looks. I know it's like, obviously tonight he had a terrible game, was worst of the season. Maybe he's worse as a Raptor, whatever. But you still need somebody with a skill set, man. The one thing you watch the Raptors, and this has been the case for a long time now, but this team just struggles to find guards who score, okay? And we have complained about IQ. We have complained about Fred. Those guys were inadequate in their roles as scoring guards. Okay, they're Fred's more of a game manager and IQ's more of a game changer, I suppose. Maybe with the change of pace as a 6-man type. You know what I mean? Like Dennis Schroeder before that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just outside of RJ, who's come in here and scored. Nobody else on the perimeter scores, and it's like, guards are in the game to score, man. Like, very few guards are just in there only to play on the defensive end. It's like defensive specialists as guards, those guys are basically bench players. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. No. Is this true? Someone said Darko just said the team play well defensively, or the rebounding hurt them. Do with that what you will. Is that out there? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't see anybody to tweet out some of the links. So. I want to trust you. That does sound like what Darko would have said. You know what? Let me go verify this. And maybe the next episode I'll come in and talk a little bit more about it, because the Raptors do play tomorrow night, so we can reflect on it then. I think the tone and everything kind of like, I think obviously transcribing it into just words on in text kind of like flattens out the feeling. But yeah. Did they play well defensively tonight? Oh, man. What? Peyton Pritchard just made tough shots? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Boston's physicality is like it's the playoffs. I mean, again, like, you use the regular season for the playoffs. It's practice for the playoffs, right? Kawhi said it's 82 practices. I mean, whatever. I'm to be honest, I'm not really taking Kawhi's word for, the approach towards working. But ultimately, like, you could think about that as, oh, okay, these games aren't that serious. Or the other thing is, like, you're practicing to get to when the games are serious so that you have the standards. And, like, look, whenever the Celtics go back to the playoffs, and they're going to go back this year, and maybe they'll have Tatum back as well, like, it's not even inconceivable that if Tatum comes back remotely close to what Tatum is and with Jaylen Brown, that this team could then upset and suddenly be like in contention for the conference finals or even in the NBA finals again. Like, they have so many guys that they have discovered in this time off. Okay, they used a gap year, they found guys, right? And they found guys because they maintained their standard. Like, obviously we know Pritchard and Hauser, we know what those guys are. And they're already championship proven. But like, Walsh is a guy. Gonzalez, when obviously he's a rookie and he had some ups and downs. Today he got into foul trouble at a certain point. But he looks like he's a guy. Keita is a guy. They just found this. By the way, they found these guys off the street. Keita is like if like we signed, who was it? like Bruno Fernando last year, and we turned him into like a starting center as good as Jakob Poeltl. Like that's what they did. They just made a guy appear out of thin air, just like they did that with Luke Cornett previously. Like these guys were all available. Like Luke Cornett was on the Knicks. The Celtics saw a vision there. They brought him in. They developed him to a really good player. And then again, the Spurs signed him. Then the Spurs had Keita. They were like, okay, we don't need him. They cut him, and then they bring him in, and now they're needed. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like as much as I have said, repeatedly on the show, that like, okay, the Raptors, they could try sort of cycling through, signing some centers off the street, but it doesn't really go well. It doesn't really go well just for the Raptors though, man. Because like because these success stories do exist. Jay Huff, it's another success story, right? Okay, he's just a guy. Memphis kind of signed him, and then all of a sudden Indiana signs him, and say what you want. I don't think he's a huge game changer, but like a totally serviceable rotation level player. Like I think he's like 1 or 2 in the NBA in blocks or something. Like it's, I don't know. I might have to double check that. Like even Goga Batadze, we're always talking about, oh, maybe the Raptors trade for Goga. What a nice trade it would be if we traded for Goga Batadze. Man, the Magic just like got Goga Batadze for free. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you make the right moves and the right investments, and you have the right system in place, and you pick the right guys. These second chance redemption guys are possible. It's just we haven't really been able to do that here, especially in the front court position, and it hurts because year after year we're like, dog, look at our front court, right? Michael Malone's available. Someone sent him $2. Yeah. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't really see a midseason coaching change as a good idea, but I think they should evaluate everything by the time it comes to after the season. Herbopotamus sends us $5. Is there a channel I should be watching and following to learn about the WNBA before the Tempos start playing? Honestly, yeah, like there's some decent WNBA outlets out there already. Shouts to Sirat Sohi at The Ringer. She's got a podcast there. She does some really good interviews on that front. I think Chelsea Late does a really good job of covering, pretty much all things WNBA, but I think especially with the Temple coming into Toronto, friends of the program, Savannah and Ashley Docking. Savannah Hamilton and Ashley Docking. Why am I saying that? They're sisters. But like, yeah, they have a show as well, Cinderella Stories. So there's a lot of them out there. But I also just think that like, you just start watching some of the primetime games. Even if you just start to tap in for the playoffs, like you'll start to get a real sense of like what's going on. I think even the broadcast does a great job of educating. Like the WNBA broadcast, I found to be just in general maybe more educational around the whole league, as compared to maybe the NBA coverages. And some of that maybe just the NBA they just kind of assume that there's an implied like a level of knowledge and awareness, but yeah, I guess I do end up absorbing a lot from just straight up watching the games. Like, not watching specific content around the games, just watching the games themselves. But yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. I mean, I'm really looking forward to like seeing how the Tempo play and sort of the standards they set there. By the way, they got a championship coach right away, so it's tough, man. Tibbs available. Say what you want about Tibbs, man, but he does get the most out of guys. Yeah, so I wanted Will to go scorched earth on the Raptors game, and so far I'm not disappointed. Well, I don't know. I guess I hate the idea of like just being predictable in that sense, but I think sometimes like the standards call for it. And by the way, speaking to this point actually, about sort of how I can sometimes pop off and people almost look forward to that idea sometimes. I honestly, I think basketball can be pretty stressful, but your choice of beer doesn't necessarily have to be. Coors Light delivers mountain cold refreshment. There was a stretch in the third quarter. I'm watching Peyton Pritchard hit every single shot. I'm watching the Raptors lead slip away after they had worked meticulously to get it back, after they had fought back from a comeback. And then I watched the start of the fourth quarter, and I'm like, man, this is just not stopping. The Celtics are taking the lead, and the rookies are dunking on us. And I'm just like, man, what's all this stress for, man? I need to go out there and make the chill choice, and go with the Coors Light. Now, obviously, based on my performance so far on the episode, was not making the chill choice, but upon reflection, I probably should have. And you know what? Coors Light is there for you. I honestly, if I were at the Raptor game tonight, definitely would have ordered a couple Coors Light. Watching this game, I'm like, this can't be the team that I just paid money for. Let me at least have a good time and sort of kick back with a couple Coors Light. And it's I can get pretty heated. So I think sometimes you put that Coors Light in the fridge and you watch the magic happen. Literally, there's a mountain at the top, and when it turns blue, the beer is ice cold and as refreshing as the Rockies. So when the game heats up, when you're playing the Celtics in particular, you got to make the chill choice for yourself. You got to grab a crisp, refreshing Coors Light. Find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Celebrate responsibly and must be of legal drinking age. Okay, back to the program. Couple more questions here, man. Just want to say I appreciate your react pods. Even after bad games like this, you work hard and we're thankful. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I try not to think of myself as working too hard, because I know people have like harder jobs. People work doubles, whatever. Objectively, I watch basketball and I record podcasts. Like, it's not the most physically grueling job. And it's something I like, enjoy as a hobby as well. But I strive to be here for you. And I know it's not the most pleasant, like I rarely come on here and just like celebrate everything, and and it probably would be easier for me, you know what I mean? I probably may be easier to maintain relationships with the team, or trust me, like I guess I could play the political game and try to get myself a little further, but I think at my heart of it, like, the reason I want to do this in the first place is the same that I wanted to do this a decade ago, which is just like, I love this team. I think it's very important. I love the community around the team. I think the fan base deserves a level of access that I can hopefully try to bridge and provide. And more importantly, I think that when there are issues with my team, I want them addressed, and I want them rooted out. You know what I mean? And I think there is some sort of value in just being honest about that, even about the good and the bad. I can't only be up here like fluffing the team up. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's just not true, man. Like, it's important. It's important. But I appreciate you guys too. Thank you so much. Love Matty D. He's got a different energy than us on bad nights. You know what? The thing with Matt is, you have to understand, okay? Matt is an employee of the Raptors, okay? His job is to keep us company, entertain, inform, which he does an amazing job of. And ultimately, at the back of your head, you got to be like, look, can't let you turn off the TV. You know what I mean? And so there is an eternal optimism about Matt. I don't think that's disingenuous. When you talk to Matt, Matt is a wonderful, warm human being. We've had him on the show many times. One of the great things about podcasts, you can get a sense through conversation, especially through extended conversation, of sort of what they are and sort of what they're about. You know what I mean? And you start to see their soul come out in some of these things. And you know what Matt is about. But again, like, it is what it is. By the way, Jack, it's interesting. Jack was just ripping. And by the way, Jack is, what can I say? I love Jack because he has like a little, you could tell he's got a red blood in this, like, in the way that, like, I have. Yeah, I'm sure he's much more mature and much more articulate about it. And that's why he's a legend, and he's literally covered the Raptors for the last, like, 28 years, I think, for Jack, because he didn't come in right away at 95, but he came in a little bit later on, I think 98 maybe. But like, you could tell he cares. And as a coach, he can't just turn that off. You know what I mean? Sometimes he's coaching the players directly. Sometimes he's coaching the coach directly. Sometimes you'll call out when Darko's not playing well. And it's not call out like, crash out, and that's where the maturity for me, maybe I got to learn to not crash out as much. Actually, that's not maybe. I probably definitely should. It's not good for my long-term career. But I do think that, like, it's undeniable. When Jack sees something bad going on, he calls it out, man. And sometimes people don't like criticism. We live in this age where it's, like, so hard for criticism, and things get taken out of context, or things get really, split up into small little agendas or whatever. It's just like we end up fighting over things that wasn't even what's about, which is just about what's best for the Raptors, how should they play, and how they need to improve. And that's why I admire Jack. Like, Jack could legit be on the broadcast every single game, being like, "Yo, things are great." You know what I mean? Like, but he has that in him, man. He has that dog in him. So, Jack for head coach. I'm sure you know what? Next time I interview Jack, I gotta ask him, like, has the team ever come to you and asked to, join the coaching staff? Maybe as an assistant, maybe as head coach, something, you know what I mean? Like, the coach is right there all the time. Yeah. I don't think he's a head coach for the NBA. Like, come on, guys. So that time is past, though. All due respect to Jack, Aslan, man, what did you say? 3 of the 5 Raptors guards are completely incapable of playing with physicality. How do you even deal with that? That's the part that's, right on the money, I think. Like, and I think the 3 that he's talking about are IQ, Grady, and maybe Jacoby. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not liking the lineups where when Grady and Jacoby are out there together. It's too much of the same thing, and you're doubling down on your weaknesses. And there's no guarantees from one of those 2 guys. Now, granted, like that happens with young guys. Sometimes there's not guarantees, but it really amplifies when things are bad. Like when you need someone to stop somebody. Like Jacoby can be he can be a disruptor, but I wouldn't say he's a stopper just yet. And maybe that takes more time to learn and develop and grow or whatever. But I just, like I don't see that like, shutdown ability. You know what I mean? Like, I see it in flashes, I suppose. I definitely see disruptiveness. He generates turnovers at a high rate. That's disruptiveness. But stopper for me is generates turnovers and generates stops at a high rate. And generating stops for him is just okay. Grady is starting to get more disruptive over time, which is great. He's getting more hands on the loose balls and he's hustling, whatever. But guys light up, man. I mean, they're like, yo, call Mamu over, put him in a pick and roll. Call Grady over, put him in a pick and roll. Like, these guys are going to get hunted. And this is just regular season, by the way. In the playoff setting, these guys are going to get played off the floor. So, like, there's levels to this, and I want them to succeed at least at this level, or at least get by on this level, right? So, yeah, there's not a lot of physicality with the guards. But the thing is, like, okay, I'm not expecting my guards to all be badass. I'm not saying the Raptors need, like, 5 Tony Allens out there at the guard spots. But, like, if you're not good at defending and being being physical and winning rebounding battles and doing what you need on that front and not getting hunted defensively, then you better be great offensively, right? And that's the thing. The bar for guards offensively should be higher because there's so many good offensive guards out there. You know what I mean? Like, people look at Zach LaVine like he's just a piece of dirt, even though this guy's like very skilled offensively. It's like that no one even cares about him. You know what I mean? Like, that's like an average guard in the league now. It's like, especially starting level. It's like, and no one on the Raptors is even close to that type of scoring. Maybe RJ, but like, yeah, the guard position, like they need to. I mean, you got to do at least one of the 2. Ideally, you have both. You know what I mean? And by the way, this is the other thing too. This is why I've always been more leaning towards pro RJ in this sense, in terms of like picking a guy and trying to go forward with. Is like, RJ is the only guard that we have that can drive into the paint and create. And that's the thing too. It's just like, this team, like, when it comes to a playoff setting and who can handle that increased physicality and whatever and still score despite the defense, like, that is a skill. We always look at efficiency, and it's fair and whatever. But like, man, like, RJ has that quality that he's able to play through it, and that's why I've always been sort of more partial towards him. So. What else can we complain about? I'm appreciating the chat, and I do see the numbers keep going up here, so I appreciate people from tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night, by the way, so hopefully they turn it back out tomorrow. What else, man? Someone said, I genuinely think that it might be time to move Grady. He can hustle his ass off, but dude has clearly struggled, and he clearly doesn't fit the system. I think okay, if we step back for a second and think about like what should Grady be on a winning team, right? Grady, you would ideally like to see him, like the examples of Grady around the league, like Sam Hauser, I guess, from the Celtics, or like Isaiah Joe for OKC. Because I'm trying to make a couple cross-racial ones, not just like only point out white shooters around the league. That Kyle Korver type. Like these guys, the main thing is they knock down some threes, they space the floor well. You can maybe run them off screens and run plays for them, but for the most successful types of these, they're stationary off the ball and they're converting at a very high rate. The thing that Grady does is he's pretty good at coming off of curls, coming off of actions, and they're not running as many from them this year, but I saw what I saw last year at the start of the season. You can call plays for Grady, he can come off screens, and he can improvise. Mid-range, he's actually got a good touch. Mid-range is all about touch for him. The three-point shot, obviously, is more like actually accuracy in the distance. It's touch plus strength, plus like rising up in balance and all that kind of stuff. But he's not as reliable converting just like straight up open shots. So like the ceiling there is just like, okay, we can keep waiting around it, but like it kind of is like, bench guard. Like I don't know. I don't see like the requisite defensive skill or even the self-creation ability as a guard to be a starting level guard. Like he's pretty far from skill set wise from like IQ as a shooter and from RJ as a slasher/creator, right? So it's like, I don't know. Maybe I still would wait around on it just because of the fact that I think that, they're at worst, it's you probably have a good chance to re-sign him, and you have a chance to have emerging shooter on a cheaper contract. And when the Raptors don't have shooters, we've definitely seen what that looks like. But I also do feel like last year's system definitely overemphasized how much he was used. And then this year's system, he's just not used that much, right? So I don't know. You're kind of dissatisfied either way, which is just kind of weird, I suppose. Just kind of weird, I suppose. Oh, they released Darko's press conference on YouTube? Can we watch the YouTube video? Let's watch the YouTube video, man. Hold on. Let me find the video and we can watch it on the YouTube. We'll watch it collectively. Where's the Toronto Raptors channel? Okay. Sandro talked. Okay. How do I screen share this? Hopefully this works. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna make it full screen so you don't see my weird recommendations. They're not that weird. There's just a lot of like Tony Soprano videos. All right, let's watch the availability together, guys. I just want to see what Darko says. What before we even start, actually, what do you feel like? What do you think he said about this loss? For me, I think there's a real chance he probably talked about how. Well, I just hope to hear the word unacceptable. That's all. But let's see. Let's hear it.
You have to. I mean, obviously rebounding was a big issue there. Their offensive rebounding.
Yeah.
It's not only on the center; it's a team thing. But what are some of the challenges when Jakob's not available? Just a team like that.
We did keep him at 30% from three, but it's still tough because they take so much. And then the rebounds is like long rebounds. Or
okay,
like
to be honest, Mamu had a great game. Like, this isn't all Mamu.
And I feel like
let me hear Darko.
Got to do good.
Steps on perimeter, Derek White getting open, Peyton Pritchard getting open. Is that communication on your part, or just obviously?
I think we did outstanding job guarding this team. We did outstanding job.
All right. You know what? I didn't want to watch that. I'm sorry, man. Okay. So this never, okay. Okay, all right. Let's keep watching. Hold on.
We kept. I think we did outstanding job guarding this team. We did outstanding job. We kept them 30% shooting from the three-point line. That's the first time this season that they won the game when they shot less than 36% from the three-point line. I think we made it really hard on them. I think that this game was about rebounding. They got 17 offensive rebounds and 23 second chance points. The game was there. Because of that, we were not able to get stops and run and play our style of basketball, and we became more half court team, and that really was the problem. I thought that we competed for the big part of the game. We competed really, really well. But against this type of team and players like Pritchard and Derek White and Simons, a lot of guys that can create shots on their own and then shoot off the dribble and shoot from every part of the court, not just three-point line. They made some timely shots, and we did not.
The rebounding disparity, how much?
Okay. I've also heard Darko talk about you can't really control the percentage the other teams shoot. Okay, that's you can't limit teams from shooting the amount of threes. That's one of the things, but he does sort of believe in sort of limiting the percentage. So sorry, I had to mix up. Let me set the record straight. Darko believes that you can limit how many attempts. Sorry, Darko doesn't believe that you can limit a team from shooting threes, but he does believe that you can influence the percentage he shoots on threes. So I see from his perspective why he feels proud of the Raptors only allowing 30% shooting from three from the Celtics. Sometimes the Raptors did do a good job guarding the three-point line. Like I think that they forced especially Derek White, who was the one mostly missing the threes, to miss some shots. I mean, Simons is going to shoot them regardless. So I don't even look too much into it, but I thought they did a good job guarding Derek White. That's as far as I would give them in terms of doing a good job guarding. I just can't go as far as to say, hey guys, we did an outstanding job when Peyton Pritchard goes for 19 points in the third quarter, man. The Celtics went on a 16-0 run at the end of the first quarter, and Darko didn't call a timeout. It's like there's okay. And then, yes, it was lost on rebounding. Sure. We can't. Well, okay, if the rebound is the issue, then can we play bigger then? Right? Like in a game like this, we should play the four players that should play the four most minutes in a game where you need size and rebounding are Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Mamukelashvili, and Collin Murray-Boyles. Right? Whoever you want to cycle through as the other guard position, obviously you're not going to just play four guys. But those guys should be on the floor as much as possible. And maybe we need to play differently to rebound. Obviously, no Jakob is going to hurt the team. That's more on, team construction and Bobby. And obviously, he's not going to say Bobby didn't get me no rebounders. But, I also saw lots of time out there where it's like Jamal, Grady, Jacoby. Who's going to rebound out of that group, man? You're already small. You're also, there's a personal responsibility to rebounding. Sometimes it's not just about the guy's bigger than me and there's nothing I can do. There's also who works to get early to the spots, who's going to box out, and honestly, if they're not going to do it, then we take them out. You know what I mean? Even if a game like today, it's maybe we use the more physical, bigger, stronger, Jameson Battle even instead of some, I don't know, whatever.
How much of that do you chalk up to a lack of size without Yak out there? How much of that is on the guys to
it's on us.
Physical and box out? It's
on us. Whoever is in the court there, a lot of times it was not, we did not box out. We stayed on the ground. We did not box out. They run inside. We knew what type of matchup is Garza and what type of matchup is going to be Keta there rebounding, and we did not do enough of boxing out and then fighting against those guys there. So that was the biggest deal.
So, but what's okay? That's fine. That's clearly identified the issue tonight. Especially again, I can't believe Garza had 9 offensive rebounds. But what's the recourse for that then? What changes from game to game so that it improves over time? This particular point, as Darko himself mentions, it's rebounding is not just having the biggest guys out there. It's also guys who are going to put in the position to get the position early, fight for it, box out, and block out. What's the recourse for that? Are they going to work on that in practice? Are they going to emphasize that? Are they going to, again, take away minutes from players who don't do that? I would love to see some of that too. That's part of accountability.
3-pointers. Is that the wrong mix for your team?
No. I think that we got really good shots. Those were open shots.
We got good shots, so we played good defense. All right, all right, man. To be honest, I'm not expecting anything different. Like I've been made aware that whatever Darko says in the media is not necessarily what he says behind the closed doors, because he is definitely much harder on them behind the scenes than obviously what he will do publicly and through media. But that sometimes makes me want to not listen to the media then, because what's the point of that, man? All right. You know what? That's enough. That's enough. Okay. Sharing this is under fair use, right? I mean, I'm commenting on it. That's totally fair. Honestly, I don't even care if he demonetizes the video. It's true. Like, but ultimately, like, I just want to like watch this. You know what I mean? Will, I gotta get press conference credentials to go grill this man. This is shame. I have press conference credentials. Don't you see me interviewing the team when they're at practices and stuff? I just obviously choose to go home after the game or during the game, so that I make sure I can go live from here, because I'm not allowed to broadcast from the arena, and that's just due to the fact that the broadcast rules, live broadcast rules in the building are owned by either TSN or Sportsnet, whichever given day that they have to broadcast. So, yeah. I'm more tactful in person. Yeah, I mean, obviously. I think we're all more tactful in person, though. You know what I mean? So, all right, let's wrap it up. I mean, I think enough has to be said tonight. Look, I'm just hoping tomorrow they come back and don't play like this, and not just against the Nets, who, by the way, they have some physical guys too. You know what I mean? Like, if you thought that Garza was an issue for you boxing out, like, Nick Claxton's a damn good rebounder. Dameron Sharp's a damn good rebounder. You know what I mean? Like, these guys can get in there. Noah Clowney's a good rebounder. They've given the Raptors problems before. Like, I want to see how they bounce back. I want to see actually how they take into accountability of this. And sometimes it's not even just Darko. It's also the players themselves have to take on the personal responsibility of saying, we got to play tougher and we got to play much, much more. Yeah. Darko, why are we trash now? Will, the reporter. It's a funny joke. It's a funny joke. Yeah, I honestly, I take pride in the questions I ask. They're not 100%, but well, maybe I sound like Darko now, being like, I think I'm okay at reporting. Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's get to the 3 stars. First star is going to go to Sandro. Sandro was awesome tonight. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 9 of 13 shooting, 6 of 9 from 3. Realistically, Brandon was better than him, but Sandro was great, and I continue to love to see him play confident and play free out there. Sometimes I do feel like he overcomplicates it. He wants to make the right play so much, but I think Sandro's got to come to the realization that a good shot for him is better than a great shot for some of his other teammates. And I know that's kind of antithetical to like the idea of playing selfless basketball, but if you're kicking it out to a bad shooter versus taking a good shot for yourself, which I do see him do a lot of the time, I'm just like, just take the shot yourself, man. It's okay. He's especially on a night like this, he's the Raptors' second or best shooter. Brandon was awesome tonight. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 10 of 17 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3. Again, just the turnovers. I would love to see him like just cut those down. Again, like there's going to be double teams coming at him. He's got to anticipate those a little bit better. He had a couple loose ones, but overall, actually, 7 assists to 3 turnovers is actually really good for Brandon and what he's done so far this season. And then your third star, give that to CMB. I thought he played tough at moments. Knocked down a 3 again. He also had moments where he was like low loss. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, he was out of position a lot. Some of that also just the factor of the Raptors not being good on the ball defensively. But for as much as he was saddled with some of these bad bench minutes, he was actually one of the positives off the bench. Goes for 9 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a block on 4 of 8 shooting. It was solid. Your Gerald Henderson Award winner. I mean. Which one, man? Which one? I'm going to go with Hugo Gonzalez. I mean, with apologies to Luka Garza and the 9 offensive rebounds that he had, with apologies to Neemias Queta, who had a perfect game, 7 of 7 from the field, I'm going to go with Hugo Gonzalez. I just couldn't believe it. This kid is like literally like 18, 19 years old, man. Like, you could walk by Hugo Gonzalez on the street and you would have no idea. He's averaging 4 points on the season, but he's playing tough. He's physical. He's also huge for a rookie, too. Like, he's already physically really developed. And yeah, he was a plus 37 in this one. He did a great job guarding Brandon and being disruptive on that end. He did a great job contesting shots at the rim. He did a great job across the board. 10 points, 10 rebounds. And the Celtics don't do things like hand out chains, but if they ever did, like, he should get the chain, so. Will Peyton Pritchard become the new Gerald Henderson Award in the modern era? Honestly, I feel like it should be at a certain point, I think people probably don't even understand what Gerald Henderson Award even is, because you really had to be here 10 years ago to watch that at this point. So I don't know. Maybe that's in consideration. If I had to change the award name, that is 100%. That's 100% the player I would choose. But I think that the one thing with Gerald Henderson is he wasn't that good against anyone else, but he was just particularly good against the Raptors. Like, Peyton Pritchard is pretty good, like, just in general. But yeah, I'll give it some thought. It will be kind of hard to give it up, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like a if you know type of thing. So thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate it. Again, you know, Angry Asian Dad comes out. It's, you know, ha ha ha. But like ultimately, I just play better, man. Just play better. Disappointing game tonight. Well, hopefully Raptors bounce back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Raptors play the Brooklyn Nets. We'll be back at 8:30. See you guys tomorrow.